We stay swishing, 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 swishing. Rise up, stay swishing, 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 swishing. Willing every jumper with a flick of wrist. Never a doubt, a fear of miss. Anyone sleeping on my shots get fits. Cause every shot do nets, do rips. Cards, hearts, darts, rewards, smarts, sharks. Five, four, three, two, one, go.
Diamond release. Diamond release.
Release and dime.
Today we have an episode about what is happening with the NBA lately.
The Michael Jordan episode. 23.
It's not a podcast.
Go.
It's not a podcast.
It's an episode.
Alright, so there was talks about the NBA cutting down 3-point volume, and Silver said it will be done. He pretty much promises that it'll be cut down, the volume of shots. I don't know how they're going to do that. Like, you can't force players not to shoot threes.
All right, so I think that's not the problem, but how to do that, I'm not entirely sure what they have in mind, because how does Silver stop a player on the court?
I've seen refs try to stop players.
Yeah.
And coaches.
Yeah, but that doesn't change the volume of shots.
I mean, unless they implement the hand checking rule back.
How does that stop the volume of shots?
Because then you could guard players more aggressively on the line, like the 3-point line, and like you'll be able to like make sure they don't get a shot off.
Maybe. But the length of where they're shooting from, can you hand check and still guard the paint? I don't know.
What if they're allowed to like put a hand on the other person's arm so they can't really shoot, and they're not going to call a foul because of it, because they're trying to cut down the shots?
I don't think that's basketball.
So I can't really think of another realistic way to do it. Like,
it's not the problem.
What's the problem?
We'll get to it.
What do you mean? That's what we're here for.
You said we're doing one at a time.
It ropes together.
Okay. Well, the NBA has become boring, in other words, is my statement on that. And the reason for this boringness is not because of one thing alone. It is because of everything and tied in with it. So, yes, some people don't like a lot of three-pointers. That's only part of the problem. The real problem is it's a repetitive copycat league. Everyone does the same thing. There's no surprises. Everyone runs the same type of offenses, same type of defenses. There's no shockers when it comes to that kind of stuff. The art of coaching is kind of dulled out by that. You don't have to strategize anymore if you're playing a free-flowing NBA. So that's another part of it. Coaching has dulled down. Playbook has dulled down. You've even heard guys like LeBron and JJ talk about how the old days they used to have more exotic play calls and stuff like that. Now it's more simplified.
That's crazy coming from LeBron, but go ahead.
Yeah. Well, he's not really a big three-point shooter either. Not that that's the entire reason. But another thing is things like the NBA awards themselves. They don't reward the actual best player. They use politics because Jokic should be winning every year. If you look at the statistical means by how they should vote on who is the most valuable to their team, Jokic is that right now. The Oklahoma City Thunder's SGA may be playing the best, but his team is so stacked he doesn't need to be that valuable as Jokic has to be.
So
you take out
you take out the
Nuggets.
You take out their record. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying
is it individual based or is it team based?
MVP based is the most value to their team. You take SGA off the Thunder, they're still pretty good.
So I'm just trying to like help your case here. So when you see MVP, it's most valuable player. It doesn't say players at the end like the S. It's just one player.
Yeah, it's one guy. I think
So
SGA
I
is
guess
being
you
rewarded
could
for
use
his
that
team.
for your argument.
Yeah, well, SGA is being rewarded for his team being on top. He's the best player on the best team, so they think that's most valuable. That's not entirely what valuable means.
Yeah, I mean, I'm part of that group of people that think SGA deserves it.
How so?
I think Jokic is a slight step behind.
How so?
He's leading his top team right now. Like
It's not what most valuable player means. Any
He
other
is
sport?
valuable,
Any
though.
other sport?
He's the leader on and off the court. Carries them
Jokic
night in,
is-
night out. Plays every night.
Let me ask you a question.
No one can stop him.
Let me ask you a question. Wins above replacement. Who is way above?
Well, yeah,
Jokic.
but you can't like take away his shade.
Promises made. Promises delivered. Just
What?
kidding.
Where'd that come from?
I didn't steal it. Politics. There's too many politics in the NBA. The general public has sensed that now with the growing media presence. They are not like in the dark as much anymore because everything's out in the open.
Is it politics or is it just the same coaches like being recycled and you can't really change their schemes because the coaches aren't changing?
I'm saying the politics of awards. You're missing it. Politics, politics, politics. Otherwise, LeBron would have won more MVPs. Jordan would have won every NBA MVP he played. They didn't because of politics, and they didn't want to keep giving it to the same person because they think that it's some kind of negative thing, but really it's not.
I mean, I could see that, but you also don't want the same person winning every year. That's kind of boring. Then there's like no.
Most value to their team. I'm telling you, part of the problem. People don't recognize the politics because recent ones have been blatantly obvious.
So that's just stat based then, instead of just success of the team.
Jokic's team is doing pretty good. I don't know if you checked.
How do you reward good teams if they're not getting the MVPs they deserve?
Reward is winning in the playoffs. Love gang. There is no reward. It's too individual based. That's another point. The NBA has too much individuality, which takes away from a nice team played game by these millionaires who have become too prima donna-ish, such as the Embiids of the world, the Jimmy Butlers, the sit out for no reasons, the Paul Georges. You got a bunch of guys who are sitting on the bench making millions and millions and millions, and all they do is whine about playing time. Shut up and play!
So you're saying the NBA is too individual, but obviously Jokic is like guy that gets the ball every play. Like they don't run that offense that you're thinking of. Like everyone
Not
touches
what I'm
the
saying.
ball.
That's not what I said.
Do you think if I'll let you go.
That was not what I said. I said he brings the most value to his team. Never said they run their offense the way it should be. Now listen carefully because all of these factors are brought up by multiple people in the media. These are reasons why non-watchers say they don't watch the NBA. I've done my research, unlike the counterpart next to me. He doesn't watch non-NBA pods enough. So he does not know
I'm
the inner
strictly
workings
NBA.
of what is actually happening in the general public as to why it's failing. Another thing is the NBA has succumbed to the new age kind of like TikTok kind of crap where they think the highlights are the best thing and people don't tune in for the whole game. That's another small aspect. But every sport deals with that, so can that be really the reason why football still thrives?
You could say highlights.
Football still thrives. Football still thrives.
You could say highlights, but if there's also lowlights that gets looked at too.
Yes, but not my point. All right,
But,
and then
I have a
another
another question.
What?
If the NBA extended their shot clock, would that change the offense? Because you have to play fast if you only have... Say you bring it up the court in 7 seconds, you only have 15 left. Wait. No, you have 17.
This doesn't change anything. It's already pretty long as it is.
Cut it.
Don't cut. You can't math. All right.
Oh my.
But no, now you took me off the track. So I gotta circumventilate back to where I was. Where was I?
Jerry.
Stop it. Stop it. All right. The other aspect I was saying before you cut me off, the TikToks of the world would be messing it up.
Toss Jared McCain a follow. If you,
No,
if you
not
wish.
too much. Not too much. You made me forget what I was saying again.
You were talking about the highlights and lowlights.
Yeah, I was moving on from that. There's another aspect why people don't tune in, because there is also way too many games for some people in the regular season. So the fact that they even lengthened it with the cup.
If they lower the games, they lower their viewership, they lower their money.
Do they? When it's starting to fail?
I don't see how...
Or is it time for a bold risk in a shortened season, making us want to tune in more to each game?
I don't think that's the answer for...
Well, why does football do so good with only 17 games?
Because it's more physical, maybe?
No. Because there's less games, more demand. The games matter each and every game, every week.
Yeah,
If
I
the
guess
players-
that's true, because like baseball and hockey have
Problems too.
a lot of games.
Yeah, so we're seeing that all of this stuff are factors as to why the NBA has become boring to the general public. I'm not saying to you, I'm saying to the general
What about
public.
fouls? You didn't talk about fouls. When you talk about boring, people don't like watching fouls every play. They like to see players play physical, and maybe the refs could miss some calls.
They've already started to do some of that, though, and the players are whining like babies, so is that the answer? I don't know.
That's what the fans want. That's not what the players want.
Yeah, but they also don't want to see the players complain every play.
Well, they're going to have to get used to it, because some players already had to with Trae Young rule being implemented.
Is it implemented?
I would hope so. I
I
mean,
don't see it enough.
that's part of the problem of why it's boring, because every play's a foul, and you don't really see the fast-paced action because there's always a free throw.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the pace.
It's part of it. That's why football's fun, because there's a lot of pace to it. You got to rush to the line. You got to get set.
Some people bleed the clock, though.
And
It's part of the game.
part of strategy, yeah. But like, that's not the normal play unless it's late game.
So why does the WNBA thrive more now? If it's the same type of
Thrive more than what?
the NBA, it's growing.
It doesn't thrive more than them.
It's growing, though. Why are they getting better attention?
No one's tuning into WNBA games right now.
I watched some. Caitlin Clark.
Some.
It's not on right now, so mind you, there's
Where's the demand?
It's not on. Stop it. They don't do the same time.
Where's your
as the-
demand?
That's not the same time as the NBA. That's why.
I think part of the problem is that they try to compete with other leagues like football and make games Sunday night, when obviously people are going to watch football over that, usually.
Majority of the games are during the week, though.
I don't know.
They are.
For the
5
most
days as
part.
opposed to 2.
As opposed to 3, you mean?
2.
Monday, Thursday.
Saturday and Sunday.
Well, football's on Monday and Thursday sometimes.
Wasn't talking about that. I'm saying there's more games during the week
Okay.
for the NBA. So what is the excuse then?
That's definitely a part of it. I'm not saying it's a lot of it.
No, I mean it's not because it's competing with other sports.
It
Those
also
other
doesn't help
sports
with
compete too.
It also doesn't help with the ref scandals in the past that people were like, all right, this
You mean Tim Donaghy?
is that what his name is?
Tim Donaghy. Tune into the old pod episode where I went into how the NBA was rigged.
Yeah, it was like episode
3.
yeah, I was gonna say.
Mind you of the weeks.
I think that cut a lot of fans out when they found out that the NBA was actually rigged, and
People think the NFL's rigged. They keep coming back to that.
well, yeah, that's just my thoughts on all this. I don't know if you want to have any closing remarks.
It's not only just the games, it's also the All-Star contests. Those have also died out, besides maybe the three-point shootout still has the glamour because it's actually a good match. There's a lot of great shooters in the league right now, so you see a lot of close, high scores. And the big names do it. That's another thing.
So, what can the NBA do to fix this?
So, that was a lot of points that I brought up. To fix it, they would have to start from ground level.
Ground zero?
Ground zero. Yep. They would have to shorten the season, possibly, significantly. I don't know.
Like in half or 20%?
A good amount. I don't have the answer to that. I am just a podcaster. My job is to bring up the points, and the fans are supposed to speculate, and then the commissioner is supposed to act. So
Execute. So
executive.
if you're cutting the games down, that also means that players' missed games also probably goes down dramatically, depending on the amount.
That was another point that I didn't mention is people sitting out. Actually, I did mention it. Guys sitting out. So if there's less sitting out, that means they're playing more, which means if they're playing most of the games, they matter more and fans show up.
Yep. You definitely want your players to show up in order for you to buy a ticket. You don't want to go to a game and all the backups are playing. Jersey behind. Oh, yeah.
So there's a ground example behind us of a team who is falling victim to what is causing the NBA to become boring.
So also, another way to fix some of the issue is cutting down the fouls and allowing more physical contact. The game just needs to be more physical in general. It's like too soft nowadays. Not much going on. I feel like it'd be more interesting to watch too, and maybe some fights would break out.
Also, I would say to allow penalties in fights, aka hockey.
I don't know about like super physical, but like wrestling type things.
You throw down the gloves, you take off your helmet, and you put your dukes up.
They're not in hockey.
Not too much.
So your favorite player is Jordan Clarkson?
No.
You just described him.
What gloves?
His nails.
Nah, stop it. Not too much. I'm not allowed to speak on that stuff. I've been censored. Speaking on, the new president mentioned that censorship will go away. Freedom of speech is back, which means I cannot be canceled anymore.
And media can't cancel players like Jimmy Butler, right?
No comment. Is the laws back in place where I could talk?
We didn't get word yet. We're waiting on Trump.
All right.
But that's the end of this episode. Remember to leave your comments.
Like, share, subscribe,
Comment.
like, share, subscribe,
Comment.
like, share, subscribe
Comment.
to the freaking pod.
Love gang.